And everything's broken. Hold on.
It really did.
Yes, everything is broken. There we go, and I fixed it. I forgot to save the scene. Luckily, I had the preview up still, so it was good.
What did you do to my head? Something weird going on there.
I can make it bigger. I can make you bigger.
No. That's definitely not what I meant. That was very definitely not what I meant.
I can.
There's like a cloud over my
part
head.
of his brain.
Yeah.
Could be the Googles.
All right.
I see my curse continues.
Welcome to the new and improved Captain's Table layout, at the very least. Welcome, everybody, officially to the 24-hour Captain's Table nonsense, where we're raising money for Doctors Without Borders. This is in celebration of CitCon. This was a kind of a joke that was mentioned by chat members earlier on, like 24 hours Captain's Table. And then I decided, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for a good cause. So if you're watching this live on Twitch, !MSF in chat. We'll bring up a link to Doctors Without Borders. For those of you who don't know what Médecins Sans Frontières is, I can't say it because it's French. I'm terrible at it. But for those who don't know who they are a group of doctors and medical professionals who go to places that often need help in disaster locations or areas where, like, you'll see, there's refugee crises or whatever, and they do their best to help people, usually without a lot of monetary or no monetary incentives. So it's a good program. They've been doing a lot of work even with COVID-19 and such. So help them out. And it's also appropriate since this next patch, which is in PTU now, 3.15, is the medical patch. So it also works out for that as well. So a little bit there.
Which some of us may or may not be playing right now.
All right. So with that being said, let's get started with introductions. I'm going to start over here and move our way down. Fair Assault, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hi, I'm Fair Assault. I'm one of those weird Australians. I've been streaming Star Citizen for way too long at this point. I think I'm over 6 years at this point, but I took a very long break in the middle, so you probably don't know me. I host the Bearded Tiki, the other bar on Twitch, and you can catch me at twitch.tv/Fair Assault.
Nice. And then we've got Naz, the person that I think YouTube despises almost as much as HC Vertigo at times, which I don't know why. He chill out, y'all. He just talks. Let him talk. Let the man talk. YouTube.
Oh,
Naz,
you're talking about the comments I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Naz,
every time I get on here.
Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
So I am Nazareth. I've been actually doing this thing for around about 6 years as well, except I'm just inconsistent. So I've been sputtering a bunch. I've been, however, laying into Twitch very hard over the past couple weeks and starting to actually hammer down quite a good schedule with a show on Sundays called Star Citizen Weekly. You can find me there at twitch.tv/NazarethYT and on YouTube, just Nazareth. And I also run a economy org called NovaForge Industries, and we are definitely looking for players who are actually playing the game to come help with operations, because we have quite a few missions we actually are running right now, which I can't talk about on other people's streams because they are in org only stuff. So look up NovaForge Industries on our side to find out more.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, we have another. I'm no longer the oldest person streaming consistently, other than Fair Assault, I should say. Fair Assault and I have been about the same. But another Gen 1 streamer, content creator for Star Citizen, Mr. Trip Rodriguez. Who are you? Where can they find you? Who are you? What do you do? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Well, I am Trip Rodriguez. In Star Citizen, I do as many goofy, wacky things as I can come up with. We come up with all kinds of crazy events and stuff like that. Mostly, it's actual gameplay on a stream for very, 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 very long streams. You can find me at twitch.tv/ChipRodriguez. And what did
Awesome.
you do to my face? I have no idea what's going on here. The preview looks flawless, but like I'm seeing all kinds of like blocky compressions. Everybody else seeing
Artifactions?
that?
Yeah. Let me refresh it real quick.
It's not me
There we
this
go.
Oh, hey, look, that's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's OBS Ninja. One of the problems, it's a fantastic tool because it can pretty much pump out the exact quality that you have for like your side, your camera, but every so often its codec decides to die. So it's better than Discord, but it can sometimes, it's more unreliable at times. Usually for about 3 hours, it's not too bad.
Yeah. I'm actually testing something out with it, being I'm using it straight from my camera instead of through an OBS virtual camera. I'm wondering if I don't get snowed out this time.
Maybe. That's yeah, you always get snowed out for this, so.
Yes, and I'm determined to figure out why.
All right, let me finish off this. There we go. I'm doing social media stuff at the wrong time. Anywho, let's get started with the discussion. So there's obviously the discussion this entire day is going to be about the CitizenCon. So let's just go for highs and lows of CitizenCon, just general overview, and then we'll kind of dig down a little bit more. Trip, what is your high and what was your low, or low then high of CitizenCon?
Well, the high was definitely the gameplay playthrough, which I thought was fantastic. The pyro just looked a lot nicer than I thought it was going to look for being a desolate kind of a thing. The color contrast, like the yellows and the reds and all that kind of thing, just popped beautifully. One of the things I've been really complaining about is the fact that we don't have outdoor NPCs. You're not going to encounter any enemy NPCs until you get inside the bunkers or inside the caves. So seeing that finally remedied, that whole playthrough just looked like a whole lot of things that I've been really asking for. Lows, I felt like a lot of time was spent on what would normally be ISC content. Just like going over details on and concept art and the process, things that we see on ISC kind of all the time. So I feel like CitizenCon is usually something a little bit more, a little wilder than that.
Okay.
So it's kind of felt like filler.
Filler. Naz, your thoughts? Lows and highs, lies and highs or lows. Your own choice.
So one of my favorite parts, and it was built to be that way. So I don't know. I'm a sucker for how CIG makes stuff. Was right at the beginning of the gameplay demo, they were passing through the clouds and they showed off the cloud shadows, and it was at that moment I knew that everyone else making anything sci-fi needs to be worried, because this game is going to turn into something you can make a movie out of, you can make a TV series out of, you can make 1,000 other games in, and all CIG has to do is make assets for them. Once the base is done of this game, it will be infinitely expandable. And just the base they're making of it, it's insanely amazing and flexible. And I cannot wait to get into Pyro. Like, I've been playing the game all day, waiting to go see Pyro, even though it's going to be a very dangerous place. I wait, ready to jump in. As far as lows, there was no Polaris. CIG, how dare you? You bring up the Merchantman, and last time you were talking about the Merchantman, you're like, oh, yes, but the Polaris first, and then you talk about the Merchantman with no Polaris. I will get to you. Anyway, I think like the worst it got as far as the show though was the 5th time they said how strong the new audio tool was.
Well, you don't like our Lord and Savior Claudius,
Okay.
God Emperor of Star Citizen.
I understood what they were talking about the first time they went through Claudius. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And also, you can now tie sound effects to atmospheric pressure and speed. Say hello to your dynamic sonic booms. So that's like the big thing, the big technical hurdle. They said, well, we'd have to like model it for each environment. Now they can, because they just sample the atmospheric pressure on the ship and then play the sound. So, but the 5th time they went over and saying how good Claudius is, and look, we can now occlude sounds, and look, you can now make one sound from occluded sounds, and oh, by the way, you can make a plush sound like a pool of water. So about the 5th time they like said the exact same thing. It was a bit old. Like I
Mhm.
got it the first time through. I understand not everyone got it, but then they'd go to like other backwards and stuff. Like the planetary, like the planet panel and the sound
Mhm.
panel, as far as runtime, should have been switched.
Okay.
That
All right.
I would
That's
love that
your-
because they blissed through all the planet tech.
Farah, highs and lows.
I think my low was actually also, unfortunately, the audio team. I'm really passionate about audio and audio quality and presentation of stuff like that. And as much as I enjoyed that weird tension between the two of them in their romantic comedy setting, sort of sitting across from each other at the table and really talking directly at each other and introducing all the new things that they'll be able to do, I didn't feel like it was it gave enough examples of what it could do. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't giving real world examples of what they could do, which it's a really cool piece of tech. It just wasn't presented as consumably as the other panels that they did today. Weirdly, my favorite one from the whole thing was actually Benoit Beauchajor. I think I got his name right. Talking all about how the culling will work and how meshing will work and how servers see all of the information. It was presented amazingly well. And he really explained it in a way that even my brain, which last time I worked in a game engine, we were using DirectX 8, could understand.
All right. I'm gonna pause for a moment as well and here celebrate Romar, who donated $50 to MSR for some reason, or MSF. We could come and make that mistake all day. MSF. For some reason, the overlay isn't working. I don't know why, but the alerts are supposed to work, but they don't. But but we have the progress tracker up here, which is our very own little bar. So you can see. Noticed the bar move, and I was like, what? So I'll keep that up there. So thank you for giving those the $50. Anything else, Fair Salt? Highs and lows? Any other highs or lows?
I mean, obviously the keynote, the planet sort of mission walkthrough was really cool. They introduced some cool stuff I was not expecting in that, which I loved. I also love the fact that the entire show this year was about stuff that they were just making anyway, not making pieces specifically for CitizenCon. I thought that was a really good response to the feedback they've had for the last 5 years, when they've been making things for CitizenCon, and every single year the community, or sorry, the incredibly vocal minority in the community just explode with, why are you wasting developer time? That artists should be working on fixing bugs.
Why isn't the concept artist coding my my server meshing?
Yeah,
that
even more made a video this year saying, "Look at the sandworm! Look at this sandworm! We don't have this sandworm!" Like, next person who brings up the stupid sandworm, I'm going to personally write you a strongly worded letter, because obviously we do not have Layer 3. We're not going to have the Layer 3 worm. Okay.
I would still argue
20 jumps away.
I would argue though that they did also show off the blind Oni crab, the Zyphlopod, in like 2016 CitizenCon, the floating Metroid guys, which are supposed to be on Hurston.
There is
and
no
still
reason I know
not.
we don't have those.
They sucked.
Like, I don't know if they're like just retconned. I don't like. There's no reason why we don't have those.
I didn't like them.
The reason why they're not on there is because they just haven't created the NPC AI for them, I think, is pretty much it. And they probably would destroy servers because, like,
it's more AI.
But at the same time, during, I think it was the World Tools segment, they were saying that one of the things they can populate is herbivores and NPC. Yeah. They can populate that as part of their server tools now, so they're obviously spooling up to get us the fauna part of the flora and fauna.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be a mission to transport space cows from one homestead to another.
There are no cows in space.
Them.
Move them. There are no cows in space until you put them there.
Yeah, it's a compulsory quote reference.
Yes, yes. That's Naz's reference. For those who don't get it, watch Firefly. It's a fantastic sci-fi. If you haven't seen it and you didn't get that reference, I think everyone on this panel got it instantly. But see, the only way you can do that though is you have to transport it in either your Hercules or your Carrack.
You can do it in Constellation.
I guess you could do it in Constellation.
It'd be perfect in Constellation. Just remember them standing up on the cow. I see all of the cows.
Yeah, looking down at the cows.
This is a stupid plan.
The Caterpillar as well.
It has to. The cow mission has to come in after you have to clean up your own ship.
Yes. I'm sorry. Like Twitch chat is losing their mind about something, so I'm trying to fix that real quick. There we go. Where are you? All right, so I'm going to go over my my highs and lows. Honestly, my high was probably the fact that the gameplay that they showed was not gameplay that's going to be happening in some distant future. And it, like, the biggest problem that I've had is every single, like, stage, keynote that they've done before has been staged and or been very not gameplay. It's been focused on like role play over gameplay. It's like, this is what we want it to be. And this last one was like, hey, this is fine. I saw some, here's the first mistake no one should make. Never read Twitch comments on a big stream like CitizenCon. Never, because it's just going to be cancer. It's just toxic because it brings in people from all parts of the community and non-community who just show up to just try to, because like what happened, and this leads into my negative, which is CIG screwed up the first panel. They screwed up the placement of the first panel. In fact, I think they screwed up probably the entire panel's layout.
Yep.
Because
I agree.
Because the first panel, when they were like, "Oh yeah, here's Pyro," and then they spent an hour talking about the process upon which they make the content, and immediately when I was worried that the entire show was going to be just a very long episode of Inside Star Citizen, I was like, "Oh no. Oh God, no, please, no. Oh no." And chat was just blistering like, where's the gameplay? The second that gameplay showed up, everyone shut up. And it was like, it was actually kind of glorious to watch that chat go from like shitting on CIG to just being like, and then one or two people going, great, you got Stalker gameplay. That was from 2007. And like the immediate goalpost change that happened in the chat was just like, Papa bless.
Yes,
this
but
is
Stalker,
amazing.
could you run 1,000,000 kilometers that way?
But
Could you take a spaceship and go to the next planet and go play Stalker on the next planet?
But the point being was that they could have started out with the first playthrough. Because they had 3 playthroughs of the same mission. They could have done the first playthrough and then said, hey, let's go a little bit more learn about how Pyro is made. And then, 20, 30 minutes. And then, oh, by the way, you think that was the only thing we're doing? No. Here's the second playthrough of that same mission, slightly different. Then, War Crime Simulator, because that's what it was. It was War Crime Simulator.
He spared the civilians.
Sometimes.
Oh no, it was the third one that he just shot everyone regardless of who they were. He didn't shoot them when they were cowering, but he did shoot a shopkeeper who was just happening to do his job.
Yep.
But the point is,
I was expecting them to bookend the video like they normally do. They've got a gameplay segment at the front and a gameplay segment at the very end of the show.
Yeah.
I was totally expecting one at the end when I figured Chris was going to, introduce something at the end and do another video right at the end.
Yeah. Same.
So then what they should have done that in the middle, and then they should have done more talking, and then it bookended the initial panel with that last run and gun or the stealth, run through. Because that would have kept people, first off, it would have been people would have still complained about it, but they would have been like, wait, that's it? and then you hit to the middle and then be like, oh no, and then by the last time they're going, oh, so you can do the mission like as many different ways as possible. This is and the fact that wasn't like coded for the game or for CitizenCon. That was obviously stuff that's like in the game that they used in game. It's just they don't have all of that stuff in
which kind of made me
in
think,
like 3.15 yet. But
if that like is like a mission in Pyro that's like working right now, why did they only show less than 5 minutes of the actual mission?
Because the mission is designed to be approached like multiple different ways. So a mission like
but they had an entire day to split up this demonstration, this like, hey, this is now the fully dynamic mission system. Why not like get it so that you picked up the mission with this level reputation, and so this guy gave you this thing saying this to go get it this way, so they could have run through a enemy or a collector like Constantine Hurston said, I want this thing and here's 5 million to go get it, it's on Pyro, go there. Or this gang said, this guy has an artifact, I want it, I don't care who you have to kill, go get it, go get me that artifact. And then the third one says, I need you not to get caught or people are going to come after me, I need that artifact.
That's likely because they didn't have stations working. Because
this is true. Yeah, they don't have any of the stations.
They don't have any of the stations in, which is why they were showing concept art for it. Which is again refreshing because it's like they're not going to just mock up a station for the demo. They're going to show you, say, hey, these are the stations that are in progress. This is the gameplay we have on the planet.
If I use the words vertical slice, how badly do I get lynched?
I mean, it was vertical slice. That's all these are.
Yeah.
But this was the most vertical slice of the vertical slices we've had in the past. Where the past was more like, this is generally that we're going for. That was like, no, this is what they have. In fact, a lot of people I've heard say that it was like very similar to the 2018 Citizen or 2019 CitizenCon with a whole like, especially the stealth part. And we even already have a question in the chat. It's like, wait, wasn't the stealth that wasn't seem like version 1 at all? It's like, no, because it's the same. It's an evolution of what they were working on in 2019, where that was more of a canned for CitizenCon. This is a lot more. And if you've been following progress, the monthly reports have been talking about stealth mechanics for 6-7 months, even showing off like animations of like of AIs, like their perception, and how if you hit somebody with a sniper or the silenced, but you're like too far away, the AI won't hear it. But if they do hear a gunshot, then they all run out, sort of thing. So,
I have to say, you kind of said that you felt like I was short, and I felt like the stealth playthrough, I really felt like that was pretty long, like in a good way. I'm not saying it was too long at all, but I really feel like we got a really good taste there, and like they didn't rush it.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job with that one. I think if my biggest criticism would be, they should have showed and not told a lot more. Like the sound panel, I feel would have been much cooler if they just showed a dynamic sonic boom, even if it was just white box.
I think
that
the
would have been
biggest
fun.
thing on that panel is how new that tool is. I think the tool is too new. And they basically just got it working. And they're like, hey, we just finished this, so it's going to be in CitizenCon because it's a tool and we need something from a different team in CitizenCon. Mm-hmm. I imagine that this tool is not yet being used for the game, or is just now being used for the game. So, like, the one thing, I guess, that was not going to be used in the game that they did for CitizenCon was make the plushie sound like water.
Yeah.
That was just for CitizenCon. It was like the sound panel did really feel like a Star Citizen Live. Like, hey, this is what we do as audio engineers. These are the things we touch.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of talking and not a lot of showing. And I will also say for the hour and 45 minutes of Tony Z talking, it could have been 45 minutes of Tony Z talking. That hour beforehand felt like here's Star Citizen for people who don't follow Star Citizen. You know, it felt like Tony Z for new people. Because
Well,
go ahead,
Yeah,
Faisal.
It's
We were
what
talking about that in my
Jared
chat.
says. It's what Jared says every single time. It's like, this is someone's first show.
Yes. Again,
So-
but it's also an 8-hour RISC is what it was, which is
which is why back in 2019, I think it was 2019, and the couple before it, they split up CitCon into 2 stages.
Yeah.
There was the general information, and there was the detailed information on the second stage. And everyone who's already seen all the stuff went to the second stage to get the nitty gritty, and will watch the first stage stuff later because we already know the stuff. It was another ship. It was another thing. So.
you're saying Trip?
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, we were talking about that same thing with the Tony Z segment was like I was disappointed that we weren't going to get more than like an hour and 45 minutes of Tony Zarevek because of the way it usually goes. But felt like the first half of it was just talking about not much. I was really happy to see them acknowledge some of the major complaints we have, because there definitely seems to be a disconnect a lot of times between the developers and the players. Like they don't get in the trenches enough. I feel like most of them don't have time to play the game and actually see it from that perspective. So it was really, really good to see them talk about things like the fact that criminal gameplay has no reward for the risk. That playing the Ninetales lockdown on the Ninetales side, while awesome, the reason that almost nobody did it was because you're guaranteed to go to prison and it might happen really, really fast and you're going to miss most of the event. And at the same time, you're not really going to get all that much for it, even if you do manage to hang in there for a long while. Which we had an awesome run, but it was because we wound up on a server that only had it was only like 50% populated or something. But we did have a long and hilarious run with hammerheads that involved. I don't know if anybody was watching. But we actually, in the middle of playing the Ninetales side and Ninetales Lockdown, turrets were breaking on the Hammerhead, the usual thing, not like damage, bugging out. And I wound up flying a new Hammerhead in the middle of the battle, nosed the two together, opened up the airlocks of both of them, and had the entire crew ETA from one into the other. Yeah, it was pretty glorious. But that was not representative of what was going to happen to most people who tried to play the Ninetales side. If it was a more populated server, that would have gone horribly wrong, and most of that hour and a half would have been us breaking out of prison yet again.
Yeah. I and that would be another thing that from Tony Z's discussion that I was a little iffy about, which was like they're like, oh yeah, this is people really liked Jumptown, and as a certified veteran of Jumptown, the way they were talking, I was like, y'all just don't trust players, do you?
Nope.
You just do not trust players to like have fun gameplay. And
Yeah.
And that was just like, you don't understand PvP content. That's the one thing that I learned from CitizenCon is that CIG still doesn't understand PvP content. And they need to learn. So hopefully if they're watching, I don't know, pull aside 4 people in the PvP community and talk with them about why Jumptown worked, and maybe, because I still have many concerns about Jumptown 2. I'm now even more concerned about Jumptown 2 than it was
when they
before.
started talking about Jumptown 2, I'm like, okay, this actually sounds like when they got done talking about Jumptown 2, I'm like, this is going to go terribly.
Yeah.
Because like they're just like, on one hand, they don't trust players to have good gameplay, like you said, like fun gameplay.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they're like, okay, so we're going to make this super lucrative so that players fight over it. We're going to force them to decide to fight over it.
And then if they don't fight over it, we're going to make
right.
AI
If they don't fight over
instead.
it, they're like, okay, you take those 5, I take these 5.
Yeah.
But the AI thing I didn't really disagree with, just because there have been those stretches of sitting in a place waiting for an hour and a half while nothing happens because all the bounty hunters decide to take a vacation or something.
Yeah. I agree.
So I kind of like the idea of the AI coming in to entertain you a bit while you wait for a real PvP.
Yeah, no, that's like, I'm a big fan of Titanfall, and one of the things about Titanfall that really is really good about Titanfall is if you're not a good PvP person, if you're not really good at Twitch shooters, there's a lot of really slow AI that you can just massacre, and it'll actually help your team and help you out killing these AI bots. So, and like something like that, where you're mixing in mobs in with players, is a good idea in my opinion. Especially when you have two groups of players fighting over something like Jumptown, and then up rolls the UEE. Now it's like, oh, mass chaos. Who do you fight? Do you fight the other guys, or do you turn on the giant, force of UEE military showing up to kick your butt?
You commented on them not understanding PvP. You just touched on something that made me laugh, was them saying, so the end, like the NPCs show up, and the two player teams might decide to like join forces and kick out the NPCs and then split the loot 50-50.
No, they'll just kill each other.
It's as soon as the NPCs are gone, you turn on one another, and
the more likely is no
it's
one
like
gets
an
the
even
boxes
more
'cause everyone's
vicious
dead.
battle. Right. I was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, someone rocks up later with the medical gameplay. It's like, no, revive me first. The other guy's a jerk.
Like I'm pretty sure I did actually get a couple runs at Jumptown when it did exist with the Caterpillar, and it my PvP experience has been sorely lacking. Like all this like PvP stuff that CIG talks about, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll actually need to actually hire crew now, and I still haven't seen it. I've not seen it most of the time. I've been playing since 2014, and I just have not ever had a reason to pay someone to be in a turret, to be in a fighter beside me. None of it. I would go to Jumptown because no one else was on the server playing, because it was a buggy, simple game that could get done in 5 hours, and then there's no more content. I would load up, I'd take it to the next shop, and sell it all.
Well,
And that's been my experience through the entire thing.
Finally, there's actually we 314 is finally a patch to make people like consider doing multi-crew gameplay, though, because of the turrets being badass. The missile operator mode, like having a separate person be able to do missile operator mode while the pilot is shooting the guns too, is another thing. But finally, it's only for combat, and it's not necessarily going to benefit you, and like you're going to make more of a profit because you multi-crew. But the fun factor is finally there, where before the only reason to multi-crew was like, hey, we should multi-crew because nobody ever multi-crews, and it's good for the spectacle, and we're just gonna like kind of do it and goof off. And finally, now you multi-crew, and like you're a force to be reckoned with. The turrets being badass was one of the biggest improvements I think they have ever done in a single patch, in my opinion, to finally bring that.
I'm hoping they actually bring that over to economy gameplay with the cargo refactor, because they were talking about how like the physical cargo is now going to need to be loaded into, not maybe 16 or 316, but eventually we're going to have to load our own cargo, and that will be a reason to multi-crew an economy ship or a hauling ship. Like
the mole is the one that bothers me the most, is the fact that like I love the mole, and we take the mole out for we no, actually no. The mole is worse than the DS. Like all the rage about the DS, for me it was just like, oh well, it's still something kind of fun to do with a buddy, even if it is kind of silly. But also the fact that the practical uses there of like running it solo kind of makes sense, right? You're in the cabin to drive it around, then you hop out and you get in this like open thing that's so that you can look at all kinds of crazy angles, right? And maybe that articulation is only possible because we don't have this whole enclosed cab with its own, life support and everything, right? So I can kind of see it for solo gameplay. It makes sense. Where the mole is a solo ship, and it makes no sense for the mole to be a solo ship. But the thing is, how are they going to turn around and create a situation? This being like the most obvious example, but the same thing applies, like you said, for escorts, for cargo ships and things like that. But for the mole, how are you going to make it so that when 4 players split the profits, they made not just equal to if they all went out solo, but more, because it takes more effort to put a crew together. You're going to have, the herding cats element of trying to get everybody together at the same time, get everybody to the ship and in there and paying attention and do something. So really, you need to make 5 times as much money with the mole as you would make with a solo prospector, so you can split it 4 ways and have it be worth having put in the effort of multi-crewing. And I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like I have solutions. I try to be very realistic. And I feel like I have solutions to a lot of issues. I'm not sure about that one, man. And I also don't know like
Isn't
shorter
the,
term about like escorts, cargo ships and stuff.
Isn't the like promise of the mold supposed to be you have 3 times the lasers, so it's 3 times as fast?
And they're bigger lasers, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like,
the
isn't
problem
it supposed
is
to be the balance?
No, but the thing is, how often can you get all 3 turrets working at the same time?
I don't know. I don't own one, and I don't like mining, so.
Oh, we like the mole is the only mining I really enjoy. But no, I mean it's sort of like the Rock DS, but worse. I mean it's rare to when you do like your first crack on a rock, you'll put all 3 on it for the
Mhm.
getting the buffs from like the different layers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
with all the picking up, it's like you're not gonna crack a rock and pick everything up and get it all organized 4 times as fast with 4 people. Not
Yeah.
even remotely close. You're lucky if you do it twice as fast, and I doubt that you'll even come close to that.
I think the way that they'll do it is they'll likely change mining, and this is so they've done this with cargo hauling, and it's going to be worse in the future. But what they'll likely do is
Cargo
just
hauling worse?
make it. Well, I mean, what they fixed. For those of you who don't know, they fixed cargo in the PU, not even the PTU. They just fixed cargo.
Yeah, it was one hot fix, one day. It affected both the Persistent Universe and the Evocati, and everyone just like, wait.
Why didn't
They
we
said
do
it's
this a year
fixed.
ago?
Hold on.
Yeah.
And then Jack, I don't know if you guys know Jack Axton.
Yeah. Oh, Jack
he cargo hauls like every day until the last couple months because he's been getting really burnt out about it. Anyway, he was like that day ran out, started his stream like I'm testing cargo. It is fixed. I made 100K today on a very easy run. The stupid like notifications of the what to haul where, the price alert things work perfectly. What did I haul? I hauled like not stims, spirits to CBD. Easy 100K.
Something like about this was for us. It was even more ridiculous because we just went to one of the moons of Hurston, filled up the Caterpillar with titanium, and flew from one of the moons of Hurston to Lorville and sold it for 100K profit. It's like
Okay.
from the moon to the planet. It's like what? But here's the thing. I thought it was kind of hilarious on my stream for the last, most of the last year. I think I've been raging about like, guys, some of this stuff like. Just change the payouts. Like all you need to do is change some numbers, and people would be on a stream and they'd be like, "Oh well, it's not that simple."
Yeah, it is.
Look what happened this week.
It was always that simple.
Numbers and they fixed it. It's like just change the values. You know?
The community has been basically in the cargo community specifically. It's just been like the restrictions, because what it was, for those of you who don't know, before this, cargo was restricted. They took what was effectively the most profitable gameplay loop, and then they just took the refresh rate and they amped it down to almost 0. So, and at the same time, they linked it with every single server. So the entire backend server, there's an entire backend server dedicated just to trade that goes to every single server, North American, Australian, and European servers. So if you were at a ASOP terminal or a cargo, like a trade terminal at Grimhex, there could be literally thousands of other people at that exact same terminal on other servers, all trying to buy the same content, while the refresh rate was just like, woo, just absolutely nothing. And so people for years, not just for a year, but over a year, people have been saying, turn up the refresh rates. If you're going to link everyone's back end, turn up the refresh rates. And they never did. And then they just changed it recently. And it's like, oh, wow, you turned up the refresh rates. So now people can actually buy and sell things at a reasonable time. And they don't feel like they're buying like, a McDonald's Happy Meal and like a bag of salad. And it takes them 30 minutes to sell it. Now they can actually sell fucking stuff.
I remember trying to sell Slam at one of the no questions asked terminals.
God,
about a month ago, and I think I sold about 10 units at a time.
Yeah,
right. And
for
this is
hours.
The risk versus reward thing. Like the criminal gameplay is the other thing I've been saying the same thing about. Is like let's turn up the values. Like you're talking about criminal gameplay, you're risking going to prison for. Why does it pay equal to or less than doing like the legal box missions? And it's way more tedious, takes more time. So like per hour, you're making drastically less running drugs than you are doing like courier deliveries of boxes legally.
And as someone who wants to do smuggling, and has done extensive work on smuggling myself, it makes no sense, because someone who's taking the risk of running drugs, especially when you can get stopped and scanned in Star Citizen right now, needs to be able to make, 100,000 UEC a run on a Cutlass, because oh, well, that means everyone's going to try to do it. It's like, then everyone's going to shoot each other, because you just need to make sure the refresh rates are set so that, a handful of people can do that, not everyone and their mother. But they just decided, no one can do this now. Oh, you get no cargo for you.
And even more, like we have all of these pirates who are thirsting for pirate gameplay, and a lot of them just turn troll as a result because it's not there. Pirate on pirate gameplay. If you have the smugglers running these drugs illegally, those are like the hand boxes that right now you can take from somebody else's ship and put them on your ship, right? So if these packages are actually worth something and can be sold at a decent rate, and you got people doing smuggling, then you can have pirates going after the smugglers and trying to steal the drugs from them and take it and sell it for themselves. And you're giving both of those players the gameplay that they want.
Yeah, or if I'm going to actually make money from my cargo run, I'm more willing to pay that that ransom that they've charged.
Right.
Someone's like, pay me 30K. I'm like, okay, that's a third of my profits. Fine.
Have you heard? I talked about not being anti-troll. Have you heard about our ransom? We finally managed to catch some poor bastard miner in Iraq, and we flew up. We have all our ships. We run all Timberline ships, and we have our armor all to match and everything to try to make it look good when we have an encounter. So we found this poor guy. We surrounded him with all of our Timberline ships and all turned on our spotlights blaring at him, got on the in-game voice comms and demanded 1 UEC. And he paid up. He paid up the 1 UEC, and I transferred him 100K and left. So that's our idea of being anti-troll. And I'm sure he had never figured out where the 100K came from either. Like, we didn't tell him or anything. I'm sure, like, hours later, he's probably like, what the hell? So,
I am, but we'll move on from this, because I think we've got a good solid almost hour discussion so far. So we might move into the questions and answers here shortly. Yeah, we've been talking for a while.
We haven't even got through
Remember, I said 3 hours was not enough.
Yeah.
Cancel the rest of the guests. We got this.
Well,
I'm good. I'm good for the next. Wait. What do we need? Like another 22 hours?
Yeah.
I got it.
We'll have to sit down eventually, though.
So, chat. There's a couple people in chat who are asking about like why are we discussing about fixing trading when all these other things are still a problem, and I hate to say this.
Not a problem.
Yeah, but Star Citizen is bugs with gameplay attached right now. So
features.
Yeah, if you want people to test so that those bugs, so they know more about those bugs, and then they can stress test some things. If you do something like as simple as discourage trading, what you're doing effectively is preventing people from testing your gameplay, and also discouraging people from hopping on. I know people who have just stopped playing Star Citizen until trading is fixed, because they're like, hey, I'd like to play Star Citizen, but I'm a trader and there's no point. And a lot of them will probably pop on now to test it more often because they know it's fixed. And that, so like, yes, there's always going to be bugs in Star Citizen, even after like the full release. You can't just turn off gameplay because bugs exist. Then the game wouldn't exist. Like, that's just the reality. So
I think the most popular conspiracy theory, though, is that they didn't want players testing cargo transport. That was what we heard the most.
Yeah.
People saying the reason that the cargo transport wasn't paying anything is because they that's not what they want people focusing on. They don't want us testing that, so they like turned it off so that we would do other things. It's like, tinfoil hats for that, guys. Yeah.
Well,
let's.
Well, I think CAG had a problem of nerfing rather than buffing. Like, the way that they would do early on was they would nerf an aspect, so if they didn't want it to be tested, and instead of buffing the thing they want to be tested. So instead of like just boosting bounty hunting to a lot of money, they would turn everything else down except for bounty hunting. And then people would be like, what the hell? And CIG's like, go test bounty hunting. It's like, so I can, that's the only way I can make money? Because like CIG seems to be weirdly obsessed with the economy.
Without implementing it?
Without implementing it. And it's like, There is no economy, CIG. Why do you care that we break the economy? And you have wipe abilities. Like, you could just wipe it if it's broken and then fix it again. You know, like, it's a very complicated thing for that one. Anyways, let's move
then
on
you get
back.
really angry loot goblins.
That's you get HC Vertigos? Is that what you're trying to say?
Not directly saying that, but you said it.
I mean, just think what the economy is going to break in the like next patch, right? We should be able to sell our ships back. Think of everyone who logs in with more ships than they actually use in a gameplay session, and you
I didn't know
sell
that was
them
confirmed
all.
for next patch.
I'm pretty sure pretty sure it's next patch.
What's that?
Selling ships back?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I swear that was next patch.
No, it's set for like 317, I think, or 318. Yeah. Look on the release view. It's weird because like they talk a lot about like roaming traders and the updates in the like progress reports and stuff like that, but it's like that's not coming in until next year. So, all right. So let's continue back on to CitizenCon. So with CitizenCon, we'll start with you, Farisol, on this one and move back our way around then before we get to the questions and answers. With CitizenCon, Farisol, what was your overall feeling? Was this a good CitizenCon? Was this a bad CitizenCon? Where would you place it overall as a CitizenCon?
So I thought it was a good CitizenCon. I think one of the things that a lot of people called out on the whole CitizenCon this year was it didn't have the community feeling. It didn't have that passion that a live CitizenCon has because like all the developers weren't getting together and watching the whole thing live. They'd already recorded lots of the segments and that sort of stuff. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it let them give a lot more data, probably more accurately than they would have if they were doing it live. And it also prevented Chris Roberts from giving out dates for everything. But that's a different conversation. So I thought it was a good CitizenCon, but it was a very different CitizenCon to what we probably expected. I know that I was expecting a different style. I was expecting it to be close to 2018, 2019, where they had a feature presentation, a whole lot of panels, and then the end of the presentation. I was admittedly a little bit disappointed they didn't do it that way, because you kind of got to the end of the CitizenCon and it just kind of ended. It's like, and here's Tony's head, and Tony's head's like, cool, and that's CitizenCon, have a day. Then Chris Roberts is like, thank you.
Yeah. Naz, your thoughts overall? Good CitizenCon, bad CitizenCon?
It needed to happen. I think that what we got was, I think it was kind of like it felt like the leftovers from a lot of other stuff happened. And I just thought of it right now that there's a whole 10 minutes of Chris Roberts. There's a reason there's a whole 10 minutes of Chris Roberts. He is neck deep in Squadron. There's a reason they haven't said anything. Not that it's going horribly wrong, but that they're, neck deep in work. And they are very near to actually like saying something moving about it, I assume. And so hold back a little ways until you can say this larger milestone is done. And yeah, there was a reason there's only 10 minutes of Chris in it. I don't know how long ago they decided CitizenCon, but it felt very like, hey, we're doing it this way, sort of, kind of, but not really. Like they originally said there's going to be videos and live bits. Like you could have just said there would be video presentations with Jared speaking to the chat in between. That's what happened. We did not get live bits. The only live bits was Jared. Like, say what you actually have.
The only reason Jared read lines from the chat was just to prove to people that there was actually part of the presentation that was live.
Like, they could have not. I mean, he could have not.
Right.
But they still threw to him out of order, so he still talked to production through the PA.
Mm-hmm.
He could have not. Also, yes, you guys are right. Selling is not until Q1 next year. Also, Crossroads of Crime finishes up in the end of October.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Don't even do that. No. Progress tracker is law.
Theaters of what?
No, I didn't say theaters. I said Crossroads of Crime. I don't.
Which is Theaters of War. That's Theaters of War, the Crossroads of
No,
Crime.
Crossroads of Crime is a map that is played through the game mode of Theaters of War that doesn't exist. Okay.
Yes, Theaters of
Prepared
what?
to fix Theaters of War.
Yeah. By the way, the bar just went up.
Oh yeah. I actually saw the alert too. It actually, popped down. Let me move the alert a little bit so it'll
Yeah, it's
actually
also
show
white
properly.
on a white background.
Yeah, white on a white background there. So, yeah. Thank
Let's
you
hope
for
that-
Traven and Sly5. Traven gave $20 and Sly5 gave $100.
Oh, nice.
So we're at $170. I'm going to have to change
Both
the
of you.
the goal a little bit there. So, but yeah, way to go. Continue. Sorry, Nas.
Where was oh well, yeah, so Ilphonic episode 2 Electric Boogaloo may be happening. No, don't.
I don't think so, but
This is a joke. Moving on.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't find the slide. So there was a slide that I'm pretty sure was not supposed to be as ground shattering as it what happened later on in the day after CitCon was already over. They showed a graph of graphics APIs, and one of them read PlayStation. And it wasn't until like hours after the presentation, I'm like, wait a minute. Fire Sprite works for PlayStation now, and PlayStation, they were in CitCon. Now wait a minute. So
Yeah.
tinfoil hats on.
Hey, that's not a tinfoil hat. I have been saying for years that Star Citizen, or at least Squadron 42, is going to get a console release probably after it goes to PC. But that's just money. That's just money that CIG is leaving on the table if they don't port it. They don't give it to someone like Fire Sprite or something like and be like, port this to a console. Like we're too busy. Just give this to somebody else and have Microsoft or Sony pay for it.
Yeah, I've been saying it for literally years. They
There
really need to throw Squadron specifically at consoles and just give them Arena Commander.
Yeah.
And Submarine and Theaters of War.
And Theaters of War, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Arena Commander covers all three.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it
It should. I don't think it does, but yeah.
Electronic access, right?
Yeah.
Electronic access.
Yeah.
There was one more point I was gonna make, but I forgot it.
They talked over you like a jerk.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I can talk for hours and hours and hours.
Hey, Anonymous, Anon for the $10. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, so we're at 180. I changed the goal to $500. So that bar is going to be changing. I'm going to be moving goalposts all day, I feel.
Yeah, we're going to be buying MSF a Liberator.
Yes.
Oh.
All right.
Oh boy.
Trip. Overall feelings. CitizenCon. Good, bad.
So sort of as I alluded to at the beginning, kind of both extremes for me. I really liked that the gameplay demo, as you said, it was gameplay demo, actual gameplay, like something that we're going to see in game that looked like it was a piece that was ready for us and showing that was very representative of what we're going to be playing, and not 5 years from now, but maybe 1 year from now. And I really felt like there was a lot positive there. I really enjoyed a whole lot of that. And then I also felt like there was a ton of like filler and letdown. Benoit or whatever his name is, you were right. I actually wanted to comment on that too. That was fantastic. So I think the best parts were the bunch of little kind of cutscenes of Pyro with the Carrack, the gameplay demo, him, and then like the last 10 minutes of Tony Z. Was like the show for me.
Yeah.
That was, and the rest of it felt like ISC run amok, allowed to run too long, to a great extent. So I'm a little bit. So guys, anybody who doesn't know me, I kind of make it a point to try to be as honest as possible, which might be why I have an ex-wife instead of a wife. But like I will not pull punches as far as the things that I think are wrong, but I also will make sure that you understand when I say something was done right or is good, that like I really mean it. I'm not just kind of blowing smoke. So there's a whole lot that they've done that's been fantastic. There's a whole lot they're doing that's fantastic, and there's a whole lot that they did with CitizenCon today. It was fantastic, but they definitely, I feel like, kind of watered it down a bit too much for some of that stuff. As you said, like the audio panel. I mean, not to bust those guys' chops or anything. As you said, there was some good information there, and it was interesting. And since I don't know anything about the audio stuff, some of the stuff that to other people might have been kind of like, well, was interesting to me, except that it was repeated 3 times. I think was it Parasol said, or yeah, Nazareth I think said that. So so like I said, kind of both extremes. We had like 40% of it that was excellent, and then a bunch of filler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna kind of echo this. Is that before CitizenCon, I said I was, or as Vertigo said, I was expecting a whelming CitizenCon. I was expecting a very long ISC episode, and it's exactly what we got. So I was very, I think very whelmed. I think overall, the answer I would, if this is a good CitizenCon or not, I think it was good for fans, not good as a marketing tool. And unfortunately, whether you like it or not, CitizenCon is a marketing tool, or at least it normally is. And
it's their trifecta. It's their marketing tool. It's their hype machine, and it's their let the devs talk a minute kind of like morality boost.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why Benoit was one of the highlights is because Benoit has actually spoken at a GDC before. So he knows how to speak in these kind of more panels. I know he's spoken at GDC because I met him at GDC in the past. Oh, wow. I used to live in the Bay Area, and one year it was Tyler, Benoit, and a bunch of other CIG devs were invited to go there by Amazon because of their work on Lumberyard. So they shared a booth with Amazon at GDC. And afterwards, that we did a Bar Citizen, and so I got to talk with Benoit about it. So yeah, I've spoken to him personally. That's who he is. Like the way he was acting, that is exactly who Benoit is.
It shows.
Yeah. And I would say the thing I enjoyed about it was its limited scope. This is what's coming in the next year. What I disliked about it was a lot of talk, show, tell, not show. They should have showed, not told. More visuals, more examples, less talking. If Claudius was just here's what the audio tool Claudius is, and then for like 40 minutes was just them messing around with sounds in a soundscape that they pre-recorded, fantastic, exactly what it needed to be. Go weird with it. Like take your Pico plushie that sounds like water and throw it against the wall and have it bounce off like wet splatter. Just go like drop a bomb that when it hits it doesn't go boom, it goes get Mimi with it. Like that's what they should have done. It would have been funny. It would have been interesting. It would also said, hey, this is the power of the tool. We can literally make this is all done in real time, rather than something we have to pre-create. Yeah, and zero code. We can just drag and place, that kind of thing. So
they can now do with audio. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you were more on
They can now do with audio what they've been able to do with textures, what they've been able to do with gameplay, what they've been able to do with items. So now everything has this zero code flowchart, whether it be planet, texture, gameplay loop, new item. As long as they have the art down and it's an already known feature, the designers no longer have to code. They no longer have to go to a tech artist or a programmer. They now have the complete ability to author their own assets.
And so I don't know if my timing is going to be off here or not, but I'm going to bookend this conversation by saying I think it would have gone a really long way for them to bookend the presentation with another video to get people hyped at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna add that as well. It's like more just more show. Yeah,
but I think a lot of the filler in between would have been forgiven if there was something exciting at the end to kind of get, like I said, ramp the hype back up.
Yeah, even if they would have replayed the fizzle, what do they call it? The fizzle
Sizzle
video
Mhm.
sizzle video. Yeah, if they were just like, and like right after Tony got done, said that's CitizenCon, played the sizzle video.
Yeah.
Chris says goodbye, and then we're done. Like that would have been a little bit better. Just kind of like, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
just
was
kind of
very.
faded out.
It was front loaded. It was way front
Yeah.
loaded.
I'm not sure if anybody there might be a lot of disagreement on this one, but me personally, I feel like I think what I would have done there, because again, we're talking about trying to stick to the stuff that's in the near future, which is something
Yeah.
I've talked about on my stream, right? Back on my stream before I left for several years, I talked about like the ultimate goals, and that was before we saw what the pace of development was
Yeah.
really going to be like. So now I try to make sure that we focus. It's like I really try to focus on what's coming soon and what we have now and not talk so much about the things that may be many years off in my opinion. But I think what I would have done was an updated Squadron 42 trailer. It's been like a couple years since we got the last one, just like a sizzle trailer.
Yeah.
But I think a whole lot of us, since the last one that we saw, have been wondering, well, like, okay, well, it's been in a couple years, all the work they've done. I wonder, like, how much polish they've put on some of these things that we've seen. I wonder how much they've added. And I think that would have been something to get. It's just a trailer really is what was needed, right? Which I
Yeah.
think that's what we needed at the end was not so much a demo as a trailer to build hype.
Yeah.
And Squadron 42, since there's been so much work on it and so little revealed, I think would have been good for just like a flashy sizzle trailer again. And you were talking about, I never really, I don't worry about CitizenCon as far as it being for hype and marketing. I feel like there's no shortage of money. And there's plenty, it's plenty easy to build hype in other ways. So I like to see CitizenCon focus on the fans, like the serious fans, the hardcore fans myself. But still, for everybody, the hardcore fans and anybody who was just watching it, who it would have been like a marketing opportunity, ending it with a trailer would have been really, really dynamite, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I call it a marketing, because I'm the next marketer. So what I mean by marketing, and then CIG has even kind of pretty much said this, is that it allows exposure for Star Citizen to an audience who may not be experienced with it. People who have only been fed that this is a scam, or people who don't even know what the game is. Because there's this belief in the community, which is a weird belief, that everybody knows about Star Citizen, that like your average gamer hears about Star Citizen. And the answer is that really only a tiny fraction of even the PC gaming community knows about Star Citizen. And about half of them think it's a scam, and the other half of like either are on board or waiting for more content. Like, and so it's like maybe 1% of the PC gaming community knows about Star Citizen, if that. And the NCIG doesn't pay money for marketing. So like CitizenCon is they're going to be on Twitch. They know they're going to those numbers are going to be really high. You know, tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of people watching, which is going to put them higher on Twitch's, you know, what do they call it? Well, they didn't get front page this year, which I think is another conversation. But like, it'll put them higher on the algorithm scale, so more people will come in who normally aren't Star Citizen fans. Like, what the heck is this game? And I feel like there could have been more effort to please the fans, because fans like pictures. We don't like boring conversations. We like pretty pictures, and pretty pictures soothes us. Because people who don't know the technical sides of things, we need pictures, because pictures are, oh, I see this now. I get this. This is why this is important. This is why, I understand that.
Which is why the first panel was the best.
Yeah.
It was all pictures.
Yeah. But then, like, at the same time, you need those pictures for the people who have no idea what the fuck this game is, and going in and being like, oh, I get it now. Oh, that's cool. That looks great. And I feel like if I was going to give CIG notes, it's exactly what you said, Trip. Space it out better, give something better at the end. They needed something big and flashy at the end, especially something that was like Squadron 42 based would be nice, even if it was just a nice little recut of a trailer, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if it was a folly on the fact that they've been doing ISC too long, and it was the ISC production team that put this together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were used to, what do we learn this week? And that what did we learn this week didn't cut it. That's not how you end a once a
CitizenCon.
year event. Yeah.
I think it's funny. They kind of went to the opposite extreme because not only did they not give us a real flashy video at the end, but they even stopped doing the community trailers, the community videos, like well before the end. Sir Jared said this is like the last few of them.
Yeah.
Like
That was right
if you're-
before Tony, right?
Right. It was like, okay, so why did we stop them there? Like, it would have been much better to have something really epic there. But like a lot of those were awesome, and even just having a couple more of those community videos at the end would have still done a whole lot to add some flavor to the end of it, make it a little more satisfying.
I will disagree with something. Someone said they added a bunch of money, useless development and marketing. No, they spent no money on marketing. They have spent zero money on marketing. As a former marketer, they have maybe spent $1 million, maybe. And that's mostly just to paying their marketing team.
And they got
salaries.
investors for that.
Yeah. Like they've spent nothing. It is
like any money that they've spent on marketing came from subscribers.
Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to step in because I saw that comment was like, no. Let me stop this right now. As somebody who's seen activations of several $1 million, this is not
like the biggest amount of money they've spent on marketing is giving away free ships to streamers
or events,
YouTubers,
yeah.
and they go and say, "Hey, I'm giving away something." People flood in. They learn about the game. They get a ship. You have a new person, or lots of people that just learned about it because somebody's giving away something free.
So you're saying that they're spending most of their money on salaries then?
Yes, that's all businesses are.
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
Why would anyone do that?
I'm pretty sure I'm being attacked by 314 volumetric shaders again.
Oh god damn it. Okay.
You're saying a game company is paying for a game to be made? What insanity
know,
is
dude.
this?
And here's an even weirder one. CIG understands creators, and they pay the creators they work with appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. Are you saying not every company's EA?
Anyways, it's a
I
weird
mean,
ending.
No, it's not EA, but have you seen the latest FIFA game?
I haven't. I make a point to avoid those games.
They're disappearing. The players are disappearing. They're yanking each other by the necks down to the ground.
Oh, okay, that's weird. All right, let's move on to the questions and answer sessions for this, and then we'll move on to the next round because I think technically we've got an hour left for this section, and we might go a little over, but we'll see. So I'll thank you all for joining us. We're gonna go for a brief break. I'm gonna go grab something to drink so I don't cough the entire section, and then ask questions in the chat. If you hit the little gold coin icon there in the bottom left, you'll see Captain's Table question. Click that, and then type in the chat your question, and then hit enter, and then it'll be put onto a list, and then I'll read that list off for the entire chat or the entire cast to answer. You can ask individual questions to a cast member. You can ask all of us. You can ask individual, like, me and Trip, or me and Fairasalt and Trip, or Fairasalt and Naz, or whatever combination. Just try to keep it as a question. Try to keep it on topic. I will skip some questions if they're like, what's your favorite ship? Like, no, we're here to talk about content,
Redeemer.
Unless you're dead to me, Fairasalt. For those of you who don't know, I hate the Redeemer. I hate the Redeemer.
I am an outspoken anti-Redeemer.
Woo! I found a brother.
I am pro Redeemer.
Look, I need a hair straightener. Have you seen this today?
Listen. This side of the table is anti-Redeemer. That side of the table is dumb.
I'm a hauler. It's a really compact gunship. It's gonna protect my cargo.
I'm just a troll.
It's also super long range. Oh yeah, well.
All right, let's get to the
Enter is more honest when it comes to Redeemer.
All right, we'll be right back, y'all. Don't go anywhere.